I'm gonna be honest. I didn't even put the effort in to put the green screen up behind me. So you're getting the full Snaggle office experience here this morning because I didn't even put the effort in to put my green screen up. And like it's not like the green screen is far away. It's right there. But like my office is kind of sort of under construction a little bit. So like there's a bunch of stuff here that makes and I have like the Elgato green screen, so you need so much space to put it down. That I didn't even bother. I'm just like, you know what? Listen, you guys are gonna get to see it all. This over here, this is my work station. So this is my personal battle station. This is my work battle station over here. You've got all of my empty boxes back here. Um, all of the Funko Pops up here. There's a painting we did on a drunken live stream one time of my buddy Kirk. You may remember Kirk from our Battlefield Wednesday Night War Games streams. I did a painting of him on a live stream once on Facebook, I think. Maybe it was on Twitch. I don't remember. You got the West Wing down there. Complete collection of the West Wing, my favorite TV show. You got my Series S box, my Series X box. You got the Nintendo Minis, the boxes for the 3 Switches we own. And then over here is just storage. And this box right here, actually, this banker's box, is my stuff that I brought home from the office that is still in this box. The only thing I've taken out of this box. So, story, for those of you who know me, this probably won't surprise you, but the only thing I've taken out of this box that I brought home from the office that I found useful was a golf shirt that I had at the office. So I very much believe in casual Fridays. I would usually like normally, I'm a business casual kind of guy. Golf shirt, collared shirt, khakis, slacks, whatever. Nice shoes, business casual. But on Fridays, I very much believe in casual Fridays. So we have at that time when I was still at the building a director who didn't work in our office, but she would occasionally pop in on Fridays for meetings. So I would have a golf shirt hanging in my cubby at my desk just to be able to throw it on. I hope you guys are doing great. I hope everybody out there is having a wonderful day. It's Saturday. Yeah, you know what? I woke up this morning and I was feeling good. I'm feeling really good. I've really tried to get myself in a good spot mentally, physically. And I just woke up this morning and I was like, you know what? Let's turn the stream on. Let's talk about what's going on. Let's just talk to the people and see what's happening. There's a lot of things happening. Obviously, we're not giving up hope on the Blue Jays. Not yet, anyway. Game 2 is today. Same start time, I believe, right? 4:07 Eastern. Listen. Pretty much everything I have to say about the Blue Jays I said on the Twitter machine, but I will repeat it here for your benefit. That's why you go out and get a Luis Castillo, first of all. A lot was made at the time when they traded for Luis Castillo, the package that they gave up for him, right? And saying, oh my God, this is another weird Dipoto trade, in a whatever. But like that's why you go out and get a freaking Luis Castillo. Is for that situation right there. Like again, yes, they gave up 4 minor leaguers to get him, but those minor leaguers are nowhere close to contributing for the Reds, and the Mariners are 1 game away from the ALDS. So that's why you go out and get a Luis Castillo. He was, I don't want to say dominant, just because usually when you say somebody is dominant, it comes from the standpoint of like they would have like 10, 12 Ks, right? Luis Castillo had a very Luis Castillo game. He only had 5 Ks, and I think 3 of them were in like the 6th and 7th innings. But like, just again, dominant's not the right word, but he was in control with the exception of the pitch to Springer, which again I posted on Twitter. I said like that was completely obviously unintentional. He had thrown him change up, and then he had to go up and in with a fastball there, and it got away from him. Which again, when you have the kind of movement that Luis Castillo does, it's going to happen. It's unfortunate. For Springer, unfortunate for the Jays. You could see, I was really watching at that time because, again, Service come out and took him out after that. And you could see the broadcast cut away quickly, at least on the Canadian feed. But you could see Castillo kind of turn over his shoulder and kind of flash a couple looks down to Springer, like, just trying to make sure he was okay. There was no intention there. But yeah, so no walks, the one hit by pitch, scattered 6 hits, 5 Ks. And, like, the hits were nothing. Like, they were, like, a couple of, there was Springer had a dribbler through the hole. Bichette had an infield single, or was that Springer an infield single? Kirk hit one down the line. Like, they weren't hitting the ball hard off of him. He did exactly what he needed to do. Kept the ball out of the middle of the plate. A lot of people are blaming, like, this is like, I'll be honest, I fucking hate Twitter. I fucking hate Twitter with a passion when it comes to things that I love, but especially sports, because the fucking Blue Jays Twitter sphere threw Alek Manoah. Listen, did he have a bad first inning? Yes. Did he have a great fistful of innings after that? Also, yes. Does his team need to score more than 4 runs? Yeah, absolutely they do. Like, it wouldn't have mattered. Castillo was so good, and not to take anything away from Luis Castillo, because, again, he was good. And, he was very much in control. He very much, knew what he was doing, had a game plan. Not taking anything away from Castillo, but the Jays' approach at the plate was absolute dog shit. They're up there swinging at first pitch, everything. I'm like, come on. Like, come on. Like, there's no need. The Jays' approach at the plate was not great. You could tell they were nervous, swinging at the first pitch, swinging at bad pitches. Which, again, the Jays are not unknown for swinging at bad pitchers, but a lot of the ABs they had, especially in the first 3 innings, were really bad ABs. Again, you have Springer up there after giving up a 3 spot. You swing it at the first pitch. Like, no. Settle down. You got 27 outs to get it back. And you gave away 3 on like 7 pitches in the first inning. Can't happen. Now again, I'm not giving up the faith. I still, again, you got to win 2. Robbie Ray for the Mariners today. The Jays announced promptly after the game 2 things that were relevant. Number 1, Snyder said Gausman gets the ball today, which, duh. Again, for as good as Ross Stripling has been, you're not paying Ross Stripling $100 million. You're paying Kevin Gausman $100 million. You put your $100 million guy on the mound. Much like, again, I understand why they went with Manoah in the first game, because Manoah was on this unbelievable streak that some of the metrics he's put up over the last, 6-8 weeks are like best of all time approaching stretches. So I understand why Manoah was out there game 1, but Gausman had to be the game 2. Gausman's the guy you're paying $100 million to be your ace. He's got to go out there and be that ace today. And then you have Stripling for tomorrow would be the assumption. I think that's a guarantee. I don't think you're going to Barrios. Fuck, God hope not. Barrios is our game 3. I don't want us to win game 2 because I can't live through that shit tomorrow while trying to eat Thanksgiving dinner. Although I think tomorrow it's an early game, right? I think the Sunday game for the Jays is a bit earlier. I think the Sunday games depend on what happens today. I think it's tentatively scheduled for 3:00 or 2:07 Eastern tomorrow. But I also think there's some shifting around that's done there if depending on how many of the series end up being sweeps. because they might. I know tomorrow night they've got the Mets Cardinals games are only overlapped by like an hour. So I think if you see a couple sweeps today, you might see MLB try to space it out. But whatever, I don't give two shits. The MLB scheduling is dumb anyway. But yeah, I mean, listen, the Jays got to come back, and they got to do the job today. Like it's it's not over. That's the great thing about these. Like if this is last year, they're done. 1 game wild card and you're out. So, it's one of those things where they get to come back now and, you got to win too. The crowd's going to be bumping today because it's a Saturday. Again, the crowd was getting there a little bit late, according to reports. Because again, it was 4:00 on a Friday in Toronto. A lot of people had to finish work and get to the stadium and shit, but that won't be the case today. I'm actually not going to be watching the first couple innings. I'm playing in a golf tournament this afternoon, so we're going to have the game on in the cart, watching that. And, it's just, again, it's one of those things where, the Jays got to come out. If you're the Jays today, there's really only one, what they have to do, they have to get on Robbie Ray in the first inning. Gausman has to go out there and has to get a 1-2-3. And then they got to come in and they got to get to Robbie Ray. Robbie Ray did start once against the Jays this year. Had a 1.50 ERA, so he allowed a run across 6 innings with 3 hits. But as of late, Robbie Ray has been not great. He struggled. He had a not great September. 1-4 with a 4.32 ERA in September. 39 hits and 33 innings, 32 Ks. So again, Robbie Ray, not great as of late. But, if you're going with the Manoah formula, who was great as of late, he was not great in the first inning yesterday. So anything can happen. But yeah, Jay's got to come out today. First of all, they got to play with a little bit more of their head screwed on right, have some better at-bats. Robbie Ray's a 2-pitch guy, right? Fastball, slider, so pick one, wait for it, have a good AB, put a good swing on the ball. Jays didn't really hit any balls hard yesterday of note. So I expect them to come out and hopefully have a good first inning or two, and hopefully we're having this same conversation tomorrow. That'd be great. The other games, now listen, I don't want to do it, but holy fuck, Mets. What the hell was that, Scherzer? Now listen, here's the thing. I asked this question yesterday, and I understand the Mets had a lot to play for late. But how the fuck is DeGrom not out there in the first game? I understand you got Scherzer, and Scherzer is electric and great. But, and again, I know the Mets had a lot to play for. But, they still had a chance in the division and whatever. And I get that. But, I don't know. I don't know. Scherzer looked bad. He didn't have the good juice. Now, again, they've got DeGrom today against Snell. And if Blake Snell's got the good, man, it could be 2-0 for the Mets. And just imagine, if you will, the Mets get swept by the Tatis-less Padres with Scherzer and DeGrom in their 2 starts. Holy Mets Twitter is going to be fucking crazy. Seriously, just imagine the Mets fans jumping off bridges if they lose 2 straight to the Padres. Yeah, John, exactly. It's a very Metsy thing to do. I know it's easy to pick on the Mets because of their unfortunate luck with injuries and lineups and everything else under the sun, but how Metsy would it be for them to lose 2 straight to the Tatis-less Padres with Scherzer and DeGrom starting their 2 games? That would be gross. Very, very gross. But, it is what it is. Again, I'm looking forward to seeing the Degrominator tonight. I hope I'd like to see the Mets do well. I mean, I can't stand the Padres, so um, I'd like to see the Mets do well and force a game 3 there. Um, Cleveland, Tampa Bay kicked it off. I mean, it was the Bieber show. I think Tampa Bay are frauds. I really do. They showed it the last 6 weeks of the season. I really don't think Tampa Bay is a good team right now. I think Tampa Bay is Shane McClanahan and a bunch of nothing. Like, honestly, and I don't say that because they're in the same division as the Jays, but I just think the Rays are frauds this year. I don't think they have the right pieces in the right places. And again, that's a factor of them always having to turn over the roster because they refuse to pay anybody. But like McClanahan went out there and did his job, and they lost, and like now they're done. I think they have Glasnow going today. Let me have a look. It is Glasnow, is it? Yes, Glasnow against McKenzie. Now again, Tristan McKenzie is hot and cold. So you know we'll see. I love McKenzie only because I have him on my Dynasty fantasy team. But I mean, I've always been a big fan. But he does run hot and cold. So if the Rays can catch him on a coldie. But again, Glasnow just coming back off of injury. Yeah, like again, I did not believe much in the Rays. They folded a lot late to the point where, if the Orioles could have kept their head screwed on right in the middle of September, it might have been a battle between the Orioles and Rays for that last playoff spot. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out that way. But Bieber yesterday, man, holy, again, much like Castillo with the Mariners, that's why you have a Bieber. To go out there and steal you a game. 3 hits and a run in 7 2/3. And then Class A comes in and just dominates. Yeah. I would not at all be surprised if Cleveland wins today, and it's handy. Because, again, Glasnow coming back off an injury. Again, much like McKenzie, Glasnow's a guy who can go out there and walk 5 guys. And Cleveland, while they don't have a name recognition lineup beyond Jose Ramirez, they've got a lot of great pieces on that team, young team, but they do have really good at bats. So we'll see how that goes. Again, I'm pulling for Cleveland just because I can't stand the Rays, and yeah. And then last but not least, Phillies and Cardinals was an exciting game. Again, I thought the Phillies were going to do very Phillies things. I thought Phillies were going to do very Phillies things and get shut out. But oh no, did they not? Oh boy, did they not get shut out. 6 runs in the 9th inning. And the Phillies win 6-3. Now listen, I'm of 2 minds about this. First of all, on the one hand, I would like to see Wainwright, Molina, and Pujols get a deep playoff run for the Cardinals. But the Phillies are due. I mean, the Phillies are due. Like, it's just, do the Phillies have the best team in the National League? Absolutely not. Do they have a team that is capable of making it to the World Series? Possibly. Wheeler, I love Zach Wheeler. He was absolutely phenomenal. 2 hits and 6 1/3. Again, the Cardinals, much like the Rays, it's a different kind. I don't believe in the Cardinals. I mean, you have Jose Quintana out there starting game 1. That tells you all you need to know about. Hey, doggo, you be quiet. You have Jose Quintana out there starting game 1. That tells you all you need to know about the state of the St. Louis Cardinals right now. But yeah, I mean, he did a good job. Don't get me wrong. He held them down. 2 hits and 5 1/3. The bullpen though, Helsley, gave up 4 hits, 4 runs. Palante couldn't hold it down, so they give up 6 in the 9th. They lose 6-3. So they're gonna have to go back today. Who is starting for? That's the late game tonight as well. Mikolas. Michaelis, whatever. Yeah, Cards are in the playoffs because there's just no other good teams in the National League. The Brewers, I think the Brewers were probably the next best team, and they just fell apart. What a disappointing season for the Milwaukee Brewers, who probably, I think, um, in all reality, the Brewers might be the most disappointing team in baseball this season. Brewers and I think maybe the Red Sox. Although you could make a case that this was going to happen to the Red Sox no matter what. But the Brewers might be the most disappointing team in baseball this year. And because of that, the Cardinals are in the playoffs. Hopefully not for long. Aaron Nola for the Phillies today. Michaelis for the Cardinals. We'll see how that goes. That's the late game today. So the game order today, Guardians Rays is at the same time today, 12:07 Eastern. Jays Mariners is at 4:07. Mets Padres is 7:37. Phillies Cardinals is 8:37. So a little bit of a change in the order today from yesterday. The Cardinals and Phillies move a bit later. Probably to get what could be Albert Pujols, Yadier Molina, and Adam Wainwright's last game in primetime, which, whatever. I don't give two shits about that. Like I said, I'd like to see them go deep, but they're not going to. So they've gotten enough of airtime now. It's time to move on. Let's let the Phillies win and move on. And then obviously you've got the Yankees and Astros and Dodgers and Braves just sitting there waiting for next week. I believe the DS's fire right up on Monday. What's the 11th? 11th is Tuesday. So the ALDS, so the Yankee series starts on Tuesday. The Braves series starts on Tuesday. The Astros series starts on Tuesday. So everything starts on Tuesday. So huge. So again, this is where the wild card series adds an extra level of intrigue because you put your foot on the gas and you win today, you get 2 off days. You get Sunday, Monday off. So that's huge. That is absolutely huge. Like, if you're any of the team, you're the 4 teams that won yesterday, you have to want to win today. Obviously, you want to win today anyway. But 2 off days instead of 1, when you're going to have to come back and play, I think the 5 games occurs over the span of 6 days. Let me see. Histoire. I closed my tab. I should not have. Set up so game 5 would be Sunday. Yeah, so like the Yankee series goes Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Right? Yeah. The Braves series goes Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The Astros is on the same schedule as the Yankees, so Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. The Dodgers series, so the 2 NL series are Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then the AL series are Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So like you're playing 5 games in 7 days. So if you can get an extra off day after the wild card series, that's massive. So yeah, you're going to see those teams really, 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 really benefit if they can pick up a 2-0 sweep in the wild card round. That extra day's rest. Again, a lot of the teams benefited from deep starting pitching yesterday, and I think that's part of it, right? There was something made about the number of starts over 7 innings. And we had 3 of them yesterday, and there was 2 in all of the playoffs for the last 3 years or something foolish like that. It was, I don't remember the exact stat, but it was staggering. But I think that goes to show you got to play 3 games in 3 days possibly, and then if you go to 3, you only have Monday off, and then you're back for 5 potential games in 7 days. So you gotta let your starters go and save your bullpen a little bit. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. So that's about it with baseball. I think that's pretty much everything everything baseball related to cover. Go Blue Jays. I hope they survive another day. That would be nice. I would like the Blue Jays to survive another day. Let's shift gears. Talk a little bit about wrestling because Extreme Rules is today, and I hate to say this out loud, and I don't know if I would have said this about a WWE pay-per-view 6 months ago. I'm excited. I'm excited for Extreme Rules. Now, obviously, that is heavily influenced by the pending return of Bray Wyatt. Again, we had more teasers, another QR code, which led to a video just repeating "Let me in" over and over and over. Like, man, I know traditional wrestling fans are turned off by this stuff, but I friggin' love it because it's. Here's the thing. I hate using this as an example, but I will because there are parallels to a certain extent. Everybody knew CM Punk was coming back to AEW. Everybody knew it in advance. It leaked out weeks before. You know, they literally had a Rampage episode called The First Dance. Like, everybody knew CM Punk was going to be there. They were chanting CM Punk before the show started. Like, everybody knew. And AEW leaned into it without ever actually saying that they had signed CM Punk. But they leaned into it a little bit. Now, this is completely different, but it's also very the same. Everybody knows it's going to be Bray Wyatt. Everybody knows. And while the strategy is different, WWE has leaned into it without actually... I mean, Nats fan, I will agree, Bray Wyatt is a very polarizing character. Which is why, you know, he as Bray Wyatt, he as The Fiend never really got over to the extent. I think it is a very cult character. I was never a huge fan of the Wyatt family, of the Fiend. I think, again, this is, to me, my excitement for his return has a lot to do with two things. The way they've built it, first of all, through these mysterious, you know, things and the cool QR codes and stuff. Like, I love it. I think it's great. I think wrestling is at its best when you're intriguing people and you're giving them, you know, weird things like this. I think it's fun. I think this is what makes wrestling cool. But on the other side of it, I'm excited to see what Bray Wyatt can do with Triple H in charge. I do think he's talented. I do think he has good ideas. I do think he has a very good fan base that, you know, will bring the hype. But again, at some point, when you're handed the keys to a Lamborghini, you got to be able to drive it. And if Bray Wyatt comes back and he just can't get it done, he can't stay over, well, at what point is it on him? Because they've built this to the moon. So, like, he has to come back, and it has to work. Because if it doesn't work, they've wasted all for nothing. Again, I'm not as over Bray Wyatt as a lot of other people are. Like, I know, like, you know, like, if you guys listen to our wrestling podcast, Ringside Rewind, other Chris loves Bray Wyatt. Yeah. Yeah, I think, again, like, much like a lot of other wrestling characters are polarizing. I mean, there's a lot of people who are still, Jesus Christ almighty. Sorry. I mean, every wrestling character is polarizing to a degree. There are still people who aren't on the Roman Reigns train despite everything he's done for the last 2 years. Again, The Fiend is I think the reason why it didn't work is Vince was never really into the niche characters. Bray Wyatt is a niche character. The Fiend is even more of a niche character. It's very mentally cryptic and rooted in horror. Horror. It's horror rooted. Are you coming to get those now or just when you come home later? Sorry, my wife's asking me to. You acknowledge me. I am the one. But yeah, like I definitely like you know what? There's gonna be people who Bray Wyatt is gonna return tonight and they're gonna yawn, and that's not abnormal. Again, I think for a lot of people, it is just the hype around how they've built it, and then they're gonna be like, oh, okay, well Bray Wyatt's back now, whatever. Is he gonna be Bray Wyatt? Is he gonna be the Fiend? Is it gonna be the Wyatt Six? Who the frig knows? I'm excited to see what they do with it because again, I've liked a lot of what Triple H has done with the new direction. Again, 3 months from now, we'll see what the Bray Wyatt character has become. You know, it would have been interesting to see like what happened with Cody, but again, that's still Vince era, but before Cody got hurt. While on the wrestling talk, yeah, that was gonna be my next thing. So I want to finish the Extreme Rules chatter first, and then we'll switch over. I do want to talk about AEW a little bit. Holy shit. Let's go through the card for tonight. I will tell you who I think is going to win and why. So Extreme Rules is on tonight. It starts at 8 p.m. Eastern on the old Peacock in the U.S. or WWE Network in everywhere else. It is in Philadelphia, so the wrestling crowd there, we all know what Philadelphia is like when it comes to wrestling. They're going to want a good show, and if it's not a good show, they're going to let you know. Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia is where we're at tonight. Liv Morgan versus Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's Championship in an Extreme Rules match. This one's tough to call because I don't think they're ready for the Liv Morgan Championship experience to be over yet. But if Rousey loses here, what do you do with her? You've built her up for years as like the top woman, unbeatable in the division, and then she loses big matches a lot, right? She lost to Liv Morgan once. So I think I'm going to put my money on the smart move, and I think Ronda Rousey wins. I could see this maybe ending in some sort of stupid schmoz with Charlotte coming back and like knocking them both out and nobody wins. Maybe that's your way out of this. But like WWE's painted themselves into a corner here because I think you have to have Rousey win. Otherwise, I think you're losing the cachet of Ronda Rousey. So I'm going to go with Rousey, but I'm leaving the variable in there that maybe Charlotte comes back and just kills them both. And nobody wins. It's a no contest, and then you go to a triple threat, probably at the Rumble. I don't think you'll do it in Saudi Arabia, which is the next show. Matt Riddle versus Seth Rollins in a fight pit match. I think the winner here is going to be the fans because I think this match is going to be probably the match of the night. I do think the way they've built it up, Riddle has to win. All the talk about his family and the divorce and his kids, Riddle has to win. Because I think that's the only way you keep it going. I think if Rollins wins, maybe Riddle goes into some sort of weird tailspin, but I'm going to go with Riddle here. Drew McIntyre versus Karrion Kross in a strap match. Based on last night on SmackDown, I think Drew McIntyre is going to win. But I could see this being a kind of schmoz somewhat too. Maybe the bloodline gets involved. Because I really think Kross is the next logical opponent for Roman. But I don't think you can hand Drew McIntyre another PPV loss. He took a beat down on SmackDown last night. He lost at the Castle show. So, yeah, I'm going to go with McIntyre, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's the other way. Bianca Belair versus Bayley for the Raw Women's Championship in a ladder match. Again, they painted themselves into a corner here because I don't think it's the right time to take the belt off of Bianca Belair. But again, if Bayley takes a loss here this is her first singles pay-per-view match, right, since she came back, what was the point? So I'm going to go with Bayley with help from her Dingleberry friends who will try to be stopped by Belair's Dingleberry friends. And, yeah, it is what it is. Edge versus Finn Balor in an I Quit match. Balor's going to win, I think. I also think it's going to be There's going to be some a schmaz here for sure, 100%. With the Judgment Day and stuff, but I think Balor ends up picking up the win here. Maybe AJ Styles turns, possibly. And then the Brawling Brutes versus Imperium in a 6-man tag match. It's a good old-fashioned Donnybrook match. Give me Imperium all day. So I think it's going to be a good show. Again, I'll be watching it tonight. Looking forward to it. AEW. Fuck, man. Listen, most of you who know me know I have been I have loved AEW since the beginning. I love what they tried to do. I love the people they have. I love the stories. But what a horrible 3 months it has been for AEW. This is like, see, calling it WCW 2.0 is almost not fair, because I think we're actually bordering on worse than WCW 2.0. Because not only are we dealing with all of the backstage foolishness and shenanigans and the fighting, it started with the whole CM Punk versus this all started when CM Punk got hurt the first time, realistically. Moxley became the interim champion, which again, okay. Punk comes back. They have this stupid match on Dynamite that lasted fucking a minute. Then then they meet at the pay-per-view and Punk wins again. Moxley's supposed to go on vacation. Then the press conference happens. Big fight happens backstage. So now you've had this period of a month or so, it's a little over a month. You have not seen Kenny or the Bucks or CM Punk. And that's your core. Your fucking show. Kenny had just came back from injury. So people were excited to see where Kenny was going to go. Are we going to get the Elite back in full force? What's going to happen with Adam Cole? Because Adam Cole's still off of TV. So you're heading towards, and Adam Cole's faction is in shambles because Bobby Fish is gone. Now you've got Andrade and Guevara, with Andrade trying to get himself, it's just, with all of that happening, the shows have been shitty. The booking's been stupid. That's the thing. When people used to say all the stuff about AEW 7-8 months ago, a year ago, about all the things they didn't like, what was going on backstage, they didn't like the shows were good. Dynamite was good. Rampage was good almost every week. There was good matches, good wrestling. The booking made a little bit of sense. But now it's not only is the backstage stuff a mess, but the shows have been crap. I feel like AEW needs a very wholesale change, and they need it now. I said this the other day, and it was harsh. Chris Jericho needs to go away. I think the reliance on a Jericho-led faction, how many times in the history of AEW have we had Jericho faction with somebody leaving and it be a storyline? This is the fourth time? It happened with Sammy twice. It happened with Ortiz and Santana. Now it's happening with Daniel Garcia. It's the same old shit. Now you put a belt on them? Are you trying to give Ring of Honor credibility? Because, until they get their own show, that's not going to happen. And I know the ratings, I see what Nats fan is saying about the ratings going down when Kenny returned. I don't know if that's Kenny's fault. I think people were excited for Kenny's return. But it's a byproduct of a lot of things. Yeah, a belt of a dead company. I would say it's a dead company, but it's a company that has no presence. It's a company that they're working into Dark and Dark Elevation and Dynamite and Rampage that nobody can care about. Like putting the belt on Chris Jericho and doing this Ocho shit. Like, that doesn't make me care about Ring of Honor. Like, that's the thing, is nobody cares about Ring of Honor right now until they get their own show. Why don't they have their own YouTube show at the very least? Why don't you have Ring of Honor Dark? Yeah, I know what you mean. I knew what you meant anyway. For all intents and purposes, the only thing of Ring of Honor that exists are the belts. Why don't they have a YouTube show? Again, why don't you have Ring of Honor Dark? Try to separate it a little bit into its own brand. Like, I get how the idea of putting the Ring of Honor World Championship on Chris Jericho could be good for Ring of Honor. But with no Ring of Honor platform for him to build it on, what is the fucking point? You have Samoa Joe with a title who is not defending it. He's teaming with Wardlow, who they're forcing down our throats still. I'm fucking over Wardlow. Like, it's just, I feel like the feuds on AEW are so fucking pointless. They're just thrown together. I don't get it. FTR hasn't been on fucking TV in 2 months. They're the hottest thing. Dax Hardwood was on track to be in the conversation for fucking Wrestler of the Year. And he's been invisible. I know they're overdoing stuff in Japan. I know. I read the news too. But, like, even before that, you're literally pissing. Like, at what point do we just admit that Tony Khan cannot book a wrestling show? I feel like you have so much talent there. You have so many directions they can go, and you have so much they can do. And, I literally cannot bring myself to watch Dynamite because it's just 2 hours of thrown together bullshit. Waiting for MJF to eventually get to Moxley. Like seriously, we're just waiting for MJF to get to Moxley at this point. What else is happening on AEW? Like, seriously, honestly, what else is happening on AEW besides waiting for MJF to get to Moxley? Nothing. The TNT title's not being defended because Wardlow's doing the Samoa Joe, the Ward Joe stuff. The women's division is an absolute mess. The tag team titles aren't even on the fucking show. Of course, you had a trios championship match on Rampage last night. Of course, it ended in a schmoz with the ring bell hammer because, God forbid. Yeah, I mean, I suppose the tag titles, the Acclaimed have the tag titles now. That's right. That I like. I like the Acclaimed. Big fan. Also, I have to say, I'm really sad that we're not going to get Billy Gunn on the DX reunion show on Monday. I understand why we can't. It'd be a different story if he was just doing the backstage coach stuff at AEW, but now that he's, an every week character on TV, it's going to be hard for WWE to endorse putting him on programming because you're going to have scissor me chants all in the crowd and all that bullshit. So I get why they can't have Billy Gunn at the DX reunion, but that doesn't mean it doesn't make me sad because DX is not DX without Billy Gunn. I get it. People move on. Shit happens. Again, the Hall of Fame was you're able to do that because at that point Billy Gunn wasn't on TV. He was just a backstage personality at AEW. But now where he's on character or on TV character every week, you can't have him on Raw. So sad. But because again, like I said, DX is not DX without Billy Gunn. Christian Jungle Boy. I don't even give a shit about that anymore. They burn that out faster than they could because they literally just came out and spit fire promos for 2 weeks in a row and then did nothing with it. I think Christian is over the hill for wrestling, and I don't mean over the hill age-wise. I just mean it's passed him by. because he still thinks he can come out and just every week get cheap heat with the same 3 lines about his dead father. Like, fuck off with that shit. Like, it's not 1997. You can't tell the same fucking story every week and people not get bored of it. Jungle, like here's my issue, and Chris and I have talked about this on Ringside Rewind many times. AEW had the pillars, as they like to call them, and are so famous about slapping it in our fucking face on a shirt, and they've done nothing with them. Sammy Guevara is going to run himself out of AEW. Jungle Boy had all the heat in the world, and they pissed it away. MJF is about the only one that is still, plausible. They had so much home, and again, this is very WCW. They had a lot of homegrown talent that they've buried because of everybody else they brought in. It's just not working. AEW is not working right now at all. And again, the fact Christian breaking his arm, that does suck. Yes, I agree. But like I said, that storyline needed to be over long before that happened. I just think it's a perfect storm of badness for AEW right now, because not only is everything on their show shitty for the most part, and their booking is terrible, and their locker room is completely fractured, but on top of that, the competition has gotten a lot better. Raw and SmackDown are both as watchable as they've been in a long time. SmackDown, you got to tune in just for the Bloodline stuff. The Bloodline, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens being back on in a good role every week on Raw is great. The Judgment Day, AJ Styles, like being on Raw every week is great. It's. Oh yeah, 100%. I think here's the thing. It's funny because what Triple H has seemed to want to do early on in his creative tenure is let people be themselves. Sami Zayn is just back to being quirky, funny Sami Zayn, and it's getting over with people. Kevin Owens has just gotten back to a fire-spitting, tough guy, hard ass, and people love that shit. Austin Theory is a chicken shit heel who doesn't deserve to be where he is. And they're literally just playing into what everybody believes of these characters, and it's awesome. Bayley being back is huge too. Yeah, Bayley's a great heel. I think the women's division needs a little bit of a shot in the arm. I think you're starting to notice the absence of Becky and Charlotte a little bit. Because again, I think I don't know what you do with Belair and Bayley after this. I also don't know what you do with Liv and Ronda after this. So I really feel like Charlotte and or Becky need to come back. And again, you have to assume at this point Becky Lynch is coming back as the fucking man. And let's run that shit again, but twice as hard this time. What we need is this not the perfect time? If Bayley loses tonight, and the rumors of Sasha and Naomi coming back eventually be true, is it 4 horsewomen time? That's the one thing we've never gotten that I think we all deserve that would elevate the women's division to the moon. Give me Charlotte, Becky, Bayley, and Sasha Banks in a faction. Give me the 4 horsewomen. Could you imagine? Okay, let's play fantasy booking here just for a second, because now you got me excited. I've got to run and do some stuff, but Bayley loses tonight. She goes, let's say EO or Dakota Kai cost Bayley the match tonight. Io and Dakota Kai can stand on their own as a tag team now. They can go have a run in the women's tag team division. Like they can do that. They're already right at the top of it. So, let them go do their own thing. They cost Bayley the match tonight, which means they cost her the title. Bayley goes into this kind of downward spiral. And who comes back to bring them all together? Right? Charlotte comes back. You have this whole saying, listen, you know what, Bayley, it's time for you to Charlotte essentially becomes the Arn Anderson of the women's division. Okay? She comes back. She says, listen, Bayley, it's time for you to reach your potential. Like, you think back to your NXT days when you first came up, the battles we had, blah, blah, blah. It's time for you to live up to your potential. Okay? Becky comes back with the whole man character, right? So then that leaves the wild card. They start dropping hints, very cryptic hints, right? Saying that, yes, we have a fourth member, blah, 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 blah. We're going to reveal it it's probably not in time for Survivor Series, which is the sad part, because they would have had to start this weeks ago. But it ends up being Sasha Banks, and we get the 4 horsewomen. And like you said, naturally, you know what? You have a faction led by Ronda and Shayna on the other side. That works. Ronda and Liv make up. Liv joins theirs. Again, the 4 horsewomen, I think, would be the most watchable thing in women's wrestling in a long time. And you have everything lined up to do it, because 3 of them, one's not with the company, 2 of them aren't on TV, and the other one's fresh back and could be. See, Nats fan, that's what I was thinking. War Games at Survivor Series, but the problem is that you don't have a whole lot of time. It's already the 1st of October, so therein lies your problem. You could, Becky or Bayley loses tonight. You bring Charlotte back on Raw. Start down the road. Then all of a sudden they need the 4th member. Becky comes back, becomes the 3rd member. They need the 4th member. And Sasha's music hits at the War Games at Survivor Series. Okay. Could you make it happen in time? Maybe. But the perfect storm has aligned for the 4 horsewomen. It really has. Now, if you're going to fucking pull the trigger on it, now's the time to do it. I think you got to do it. I think you have to. And they just run through the division. They all end up with belts. It is like a Mania thing, yeah. And let them run rough. Let them run roughshod like the Bloodline. Give Charlotte a belt. Give Becky a belt. Sasha and Bayley go out and win the tag belts. Put all the fucking gold on them. It'd be like the women version of Evolution. Can we reuse the fucking Motorhead theme song for Evolution? That's the key. That's the key.
I just want a low-cost...
Oh, shut up. Did I watch Impact last night? No. I didn't. I was watching baseball. We'll risk the DMCA for this. Because this is one of the best underused songs. Not gonna lie, guys, this is fun. I'm gonna just chat more often. Maybe we'll do a Saturday morning Snaggle show. It'd be like cartoons when you were kids. Except you guys can do it. No, I did not watch Impact last night, but I will check it out. I've kind of fallen out of Impact. I've kind of fallen away from Impact a little bit. Raven was inducted in Impact Wrestling Hall of Fame. Brian Myers retained the Digital Media Championship. On the pre-show, Frank Kazarian defeated Mike Bailey to win the X Division title. Oh, Mickey James beat Maya Yim to keep her career alive. Taya Valkyrie and Jessica defeated Deanna Praza and Chelsea Green to win the tag titles for the knockouts. Matt Taven and Mike Bennett retain the tag titles. Call your shot. Bully Ray! Bully Ray back on Impact? Holy shit. PCO, Rich Swann, Heath, Giselle Shaw, Bobby Fish, Bhupinder Gujjar, Steve Macklin, Moose, Sammy Callahan, Eric Young, Johnny Swinger, Joe Henry, Killer Kelly, Tasha Steeles, Savannah Evans. Surprises were Taylor Wilde, Bully Ray, Tommy Dreamer, Rhino, and Matt Cardona. Final four was Swan, Macklin, Fish, and Bully Ray. Wow. Bully Ray won the Call Your Shot Gauntlet. I might have to watch it. Jordan Grace retained against Masha Slamovich. That's no surprise. Josh Alexander retained the World Championship. Bully Ray came out threatening to cash in, but helped Alexander clear the ring. And then says he promises he'll be Josh's toughest challenge. Bully Ray. Make them heels and then have them run the show until like Survivor Series and have Bianca, Raquel, Liv, and then Bliss. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of things you could do because they have enough women that you could make the Four Horsemen thing work. Dixie Carter greater than Tony Khan. I don't disagree. Dixie Carter has been doing it a hell of a lot longer than Tony Khan has and did it with a lot less money and a lot less publicity and a lot less TV and a lot less of a lot of things. Now, has TNA always been perfect? No. We lived through the Jeff Jarrett era and we lived through the Bischoff Hogan era, which to me sucked. Because again, that's, they tried to make it WCW 2.0 with Hogan and Nash and Hall and all those idiots. It didn't work. But TNA the last few years has been really, really, really. I still call it TNA. I'm sorry. Impact has the last couple of years. Impact has been really, really, really good. Because they've just leaned in heavily when they do bring in outside talent and like the Good Brothers as an example. It's done very well. They don't bury their own talent for the sake of someone outside the group. It's fantastic. Impact has been really good. Impact does not get the credit it deserves. Well, guys, this was fun. This was a great hour of chatting. The Saturday morning Snaggle show. We're gonna make this a thing. Will it be Saturdays? Will it be Sundays? I don't know. But I got a jet. I got to go do a couple errands for my wife. And then I got to play in a golf tournament this afternoon. Hilchi, I'll see you there, buddy. Bring your A game today, pal. So I hope you guys have a great day. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys hit the follow button. How low we're shooting today? We're gonna hit double digits under today. I think we're gonna go -10. I really do. I'm feeling good after yesterday. I'm not going to contribute at all. I'm going to get drunk and drive the cart and hold the flag. But I feel like we're going to go low today. I feel like we're starting 3, 4, 5. We could come out of there easily 3 under right off the rip. If 4 is playing easy, we get a good drive on 4. Like, we could go birdie, birdie, birdie to start. And then, get through 6 and 7. I did hear they're going to mix some blue tees in today, but I don't know if that's confirmed. I did hear they're going to mix some blue tees in with some of the white tees. So, like, you might end up having to hit from, like, the back tee on 7, for example. I don't know. That's what I heard through the grapevine yesterday. They might mix some blue tees in there. So, also, I heard the pins are going to be absolutely fucking atrocious. So, anyway. All right, guys. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Have a great weekend. For those of you who might be Canadian like myself, have a great long weekend. I might actually stream on Monday because Monday being a holiday, I might stream a game. I've been playing the show again, so we'll see what happens. Hope you guys be kind. Be kind to each other. Have a great day. Remember, Snaggle loves you. Until next time. Peace.